Welcome back to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. I'm Aaron Richmond. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Tonight, like all other episodes, is copywritten by me, Aaron Richmond, and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. This episode can be watched right here on YouTube, where so many of you watch us. You can also follow us on iTunes and any place you get a podcast. Don't forget, you could even comment below on YouTube. Don't forget, follow on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and even consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. I would appreciate the support. Don't forget to telephone number to send in those nasty text messages or nice ones. 1240 681 9869. 1240 681 9869. Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com. Let's get into it. Hey guys, we're joined this evening by the manager, the owner, the guy that pays the bills apparently. Herbie Allen joins us from 986 The Mix, KKMX. Go, you're on Aaron's Opinion. How are you?
I am doing just great, and how about you?
Hanging in there, hanging in there.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
So I like to start off my podcast. Usually I ask you to talk about your blindness journey, but I kind of want to focus in on the station. Today we have a lot of podcasting and we have a lot of radio production that all goes on all at once. And it's really important to understand the connection between podcasting and radio, and that it's all actually very similar and very dependent on each other. In other words, radio stations need podcasts. Podcasters actually need radio stations like yours, Herbie. So why don't you go in, dig right in? How did you get into radio, and how did you get into 986 The Mix? Go for it.
Well, you know what? I actually will be able to answer your blindness question a little bit too. Just real quick, I was born
Sure.
blind, never had sight, anything like that. I knew by the age of 4 that, I wanted to do something with radio, but this, of course, goes back to the late 1980s when the internet was not even a term I knew, let alone available to the general public. So, of course, back then I envisioned, being at a studio and, maybe like even playing records or tapes, real primitive, ancient things, folks, if you are a modern listener. But anyway, as time got on, I was interested in other things, but the internet grew. All my friends were doing, internet radio, and it was. I still hadn't lost my original love of DJing, so I wanted to get back into it. But I decided that I would have more fun doing it as a hobbyist rather than as a professional because I can, really do my own show, my own style, play whatever music I want, dictate the rules of my show, and then a station and stuff like that. So I got involved with running a station back in 2007 called Hot 97.9, and that was a learning curve for me. That's the best way I can put it, and in terms of how to make things work. I would have several other stations since then, the most successful of that era being WR 979, which I had from 2008 to 2011, so we'll call that about 2 to 3 years roughly. Well, circumstances would cause me to quit broadcasting for a while, but I would get back in on another station, and I wouldn't own this one. I'd work for it for I worked for it for like 2 3 years. Wasn't sure if I wanted to get back into running a station, but my show was going nowhere, and I decided then in around October, myself and my friend Jared Reimer, we decided to launch 986 The Mix, and we've been around since then. What we are is a station. Yes, pretty much all of our DJs are blind, though I tried my best not to. I mean, I don't have like pictures and graphics and stuff on the site, but I really try to do what I can to make the station appealing to everyone. We have a wide variety of programming. We have like several dedicated country shows, for instance. We've got several oldies shows. We've got shows where you can hear a lot of today's music. And we even have a little bit of talk here and there, and a whole bunch of stuff. So we have got a pretty wide range of stuff. I'd say we have around maybe like 15 to 20 DJs working for us currently, and we have live programming every single day of the week from morning, noon till night. We've got multiple servers because sometimes programs overlap, so we can run programs on our secondary server, which can also serve as a backup test server as well. We have a channel that Jared runs, which is totally dedicated to music from independent artists and labels. And believe it or not, if you depending on what hours of the day you want, we've even still got room on the schedule for anybody that wants to broadcast with us. You can go to 986themix.com. We are also available on Alexa devices. You can get our main server via just asking her to play KKMX. However, some people like to access us through the Get Me Radio skill, which we recently added our servers to about a month or two ago, because they experience no buffering issues, whereas they do with TuneIn. And so if you enable the Get Me Radio skill, which is free, you can ask her to play 986 The Mix Server 1, Server 2, the Magnitude server, and even our automation channel, if you prefer the music that's playing. So we try to cater to, a bunch of different people as much as we can.
Loving that. Loving that. Amen. Keep up your great work there. I totally support that idea. That is so important, man. So let's say, let's approach it from the perspective of my audience. Let's say that, most of my audience is blind, just like KKMX's audience. Many of the audience of that station are probably blind people. By the way, sighted people, you guys are welcome on this podcast too. Just saying.
Oh, they are? That's good to know. They might not know that. No, I'm just kidding. He warned me he was sarcastic, and I told him I'm going to dish stuff back, so...
That is fine, my friend. That is fine, my friend. The funny thing about participating in Aaron's opinion that you don't know is, like, you can't get rid of me now. I'm going to add you to some secret group after this call. I'm going to take down your email. It's not like I'm going to go away. You just kind of attracted a friend who's going to always support what you do. So just...
Oh, well, that sounds good. But, as a blind audience, the first thing... And maybe it's a matter of opinion, but what I've tried to do is I try to make the site very user-friendly. We have all our sections divided up into different headings.
Mm-hmm.
We've got same-page links for our schedule, so you can either navigate by heading or you can click on a same-page link that works. Yes, it actually does work. It's not inaccessible, and it'll take you right to that table for the day. We have, an accessible application. We have multiple ways of listening to us. It's not just Alexa. We're in several apps. We're in RS Games. We're in Lisi Radio, and we list all the information on our listen page. So we do what we can to try to make the page as easily accessible to everybody as we possibly can. We also have ways you can interact with us. We have Team Talk. We have Twitter. We do have the Facebook page, which is how Aaron found us. And, we don't have any secret groups currently. We used to have a Roger group back in the day, but that service went down. But, several shows do have their own WhatsApp groups, so, we can bribe them to secretly add you. And wait, did I say that? Um,
Whoopsies! Wait! Oh, you're being recorded. Okay, we got that on the record. All right. No, no, all right. I can't delete that one. Okay, we don't do editing here. That's the beauty of this show. If
all
you say
right.
something, you say something, you're stuck. Whoopsie. Okay, no problem.
No, but
So my question though was this. So let's say most of my audience are blind, right, Herbie? And
yep.
I've interacted with a lot of people in who are broadcasting and do other podcasts and do other radio shows. So let's say one of them wants to come over to you and join your team and become a DJ for KKMX. So walk us through the process. How exactly would they do that, and how do you go about choosing really who makes the cut and who gets on the station?
So we actually give anybody a chance. We're one of the rare stations that we don't make you audition or anything like that. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. But, I mean, everybody deserves a chance at some point down the line, and this can definitely make or break you. We highly recommend that people have some professional software for broadcasting. Station Playlist is the most accessible program that is out there, and you can go to stationplaylist.com. Of course, if you're a Mac user, there is Audio Hijack, and the iPhone users have the app Backpack Studio, which is, it's doable. We've actually had a couple DJs that do their shows with that app. So what you would do is, first we have our application page, so you'd look for the link that says our application. We hope you look at the schedule first. But if you do not, we link to the schedule page on the application page, so that way you can really determine what slots are already taken. So when you fill out the application, you show us that you've taken the time to at least give a basic look at the station, decide what you want. We ask you for the basic information: name, email address, phone number, show information, what level of broadcast experience have you had. We give you the option to include any additional comments. So if you have any questions, you can do that. Or you can go to our contact page to send an email if you're unsure about anything, and, we will get to you that way. We provide friendly service, so we do not believe in belittling anybody or anything like that. We treat you like as you would expect from calling a professional business, if not even better. We do our best. So you get a courteous email. But what we like to do is arrange. Even though we ask you in the application, I tend to sometimes just ask people ahead of time, okay, is it okay if I call you at blah, blah, blah? And we have a number of ways where you can, we'll talk to you from the phone to FaceTime to, we try to be flexible. And then we take you through the process, ask you, okay, so like we have a staff and listeners list. Would you prefer to receive that as a part of a station email, or would you like to use your regular email address? What do you feel comfortable in terms of contact information being given out on the station? So we ask you things like that. If you have never broadcasted before, we will, give you tech support, and that can range from us talking you through things to doing JAWS Tandem or NVDA Remote, depending on your preference. I've had one person actually really ask for a broadcasting class where I have given them a lot of instruction on really how to become more professional. But normally I don't, so I've gone that far with at least one person. But we do what we can to get you, yeah. I hear you, and yeah, you can imagine how that might go. But we won't talk about that.
You went that. You know what? You got to give yourself credit. You went that far with them. Well, that's good. You know what though? Sometimes in life you just have to do the best you can, and that's really what you meant. Though,
they actually have made a lot of progress, and it's a work in progress, and that's really the best way I can describe it. But we make sure, of course.
Sean Clark.
Okay, I'm getting a phone call there, and sometimes we do have to send people to voicemail so I can get back to them later. But what we do is, we make sure there's no confusion with the time zones or anything like that. We ask you if you have any questions, address anything that you may have. We want people to feel free to do their shows within certain limits. Like we don't want bashing or anything like that. But if people want to be creative, so like you, Aaron, if you came to me and said, "Hey, I want to do a live version of Aaron's Opinion. Is that allowed in your station?" I'd say yes, go right ahead. Not that you would or anything, but I'm just using you as an example because you're convenient too.
I was just my hand was just coming up to ask that. Can we come on your station? But then again, okay, won't ask that. Sorry. Okay.
Well, now you know the answer. So,
So anyway, but I do have a question. I think the way that I see myself in the industry is I'm more of the podcast YouTube end of it.
yes,
It's all really the same. I just like to produce content that sort of this like video experience, kind of like this YouTube TV show ish, podcast ish, broadcast ish thing. That's kind of how I'm in the system. That's kind of my niche
yes.
of it. I don't really have a desire to do a live show for the reason that it sounds very strange to you, I know, but for the reason that if I talk to Herbie, let's say if I'm talking to you, man, I don't want to be worried about audience members and what other people are saying. I just want to have a real conversation, just a one-on-one chat, a one-on-one conversation where we teach people about the world and what's going on. And I think that's, that aspect of podcasting really interests me. That's why you noticed before I was giving out the number that people can call and text, leave voicemails. There are other ways of contributing to my show, the email, the texting, which people can also leave me a voicemail, all that stuff. There are ways of contacting me too in that,
Yep.
but it's not quite the same as live, but it's similar. There's a lot of similarities.
Well,
Yeah.
the difference between what you do and what I do is, I could be doing this interview live, and people might come up with questions that they'd be using the contact methods to send in during the live show. And so, you have to ask them and make people answer them on the spot. I have done both live and pre-recorded shows, and there are advantages and disadvantages to both. Pre-recorded can give you the chance, if you want to use it, to be more polished, definitely, but you can lose that interaction with the audience, by doing live, that flexibility, you know. So, but I can definitely appreciate the advantages and disadvantages of both methods, and it's interesting as for video casting. I'd actually thought about that several years ago, and I asked my mom, who listens to my show, and she's fully sighted, what would you think if I was on video? And her response was, well, no, she's gotten so used to just hearing me that, it would be kind of a weird experience having to see me. So, I thought that was interesting.
Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that ever since I got into the YouTube side, my subscriber
Audience has gone down?
no,
Did I say that?
my subscriber rate has skyrocketed, and more and more and more people are watching me on YouTube, and more people are gravitating towards seeing me. So I think people want to see. So my answer to you for this question, Herbie, is yeah, if you can, I would do video, because I think some people are just curious. They hear my voice. Apparently I have a broadcast radio voice.
You do.
So I appreciate it.
Do it. The thing I will say is, one of the reasons why I haven't is, like, YouTube, for instance. I think they'd throw a fit if I did my shows over here, because they're really picky about copyrighted content. So
Right.
that
is harder. Definitely.
what I've thought about doing, though. So you can tell me what you think of this. This is the first time I've really tried this idea out on anybody.
Well, try it. Go.
All right, so I've thought about creating like playlist versions of my show, where you can create public playlists on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then adding video spots within that playlist. So it's kind of like the DJ experience, and it's kind of not.
Well, I would go. So I would say one or the other. Either you keep doing what you're doing, or you add in a full YouTube video, meaning every show that you want to have video would get the full video for the full show. But
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure that video clips would really send the message because
Right.
I'm not sure that would convey. I see what you're saying. Now you can create after you get a whole bunch of videos up on YouTube, you can create a KKMX 986 The Mix playlist on YouTube, and people can just look through that and see
Yeah.
what shows they've missed. But
But that's the only way I can think of to work around, because the stuff would already be uploaded, so there wouldn't be any copyright issues that YouTube would probably. Because I know that YouTube, Facebook video, they all throw fits with that sort of thing. So that's why I've really not, myself at least, tried to embrace that platform, is, because of those types of issues that I really don't want to run into.
right, right. Now I do have a question. Um, and one moment.
Yep.
Okay, good. Voiceover was chattering away there. So I do have a question from the podcast side. So I see that your station has, after a show is aired, it becomes a podcast. Are
Yes.
you going to get to the point where you're able to accept a podcast? Let me give you an example. Let's say that you wanted to air this show on your station. And let's say I gave you the audio format, I gave you the audio file and gave you permission to use it, then is your station going to move towards a phase where they are able to accept that type of thing and just sort of create maybe some sort of a server for podcasts only where people can just send in their podcasts that are then played out? Or what's your perception? What do you think of that?
That is a very interesting question, and it's one I must admit I've never been asked before.
Okay.
Technically, what I would do is, say, if you wanted to do something like that, I would actually, because, the way our archives work is they're uploaded to our server, so they do take up, space and whatnot. So I guess if enough people wanted to do it in that format, that would be a separate service we definitely would consider. In the meantime, what I would do is I'd make it so that you had a dedicated, we do accept pre-recorded shows. So if you gave me the audio and you said, okay, I wanted such and such time, I would actually create it so that your thing would first air live, and then it would be available as a podcast right afterwards.
Right, right. I
So,
see.
so it'd be like a station. So people would actually, even though it's pre-recorded, they would still hear it live. You could say, "Tune into my shows at 1 a.m. to hear them live," and they will be available on the podcast feed shortly right afterwards. So that is how we, as a station, would handle that in our current form.
Right, right. So I
And
mean,
that's what I
let's
mean by flexibility too. Is we can work with that type of thing, and we would, if you needed us to do put together some, we could take care of making sure promos aired and stuff like that too if you just did the audio part. So
I see. I see. Yeah, cool. Good to know. Good to know. Um, so yeah, with all these servers, so who are some interesting people that are on your schedule doing live shows that
well,
maybe?
myself, of course, check out the Herbie Allen Show every Sunday night. It is a very involved show. It's from 8 to 11 Central Time. I do. I mean, I'm primarily more, I like a lot of 80s music especially, but I play plenty of all types of music. I do a lot of show features from Compare the Difference, original versus parody, original versus sample, same title, different song, where we explore two songs that have, the only thing they have in common is the same title, and you wouldn't believe the list. There's a ton of them out there. Let's see. Another great show is that's going to be on at the top of the hour is Scotty's Record Shop from 8 to 11. He will feature music primarily from the 70s, but he will take this week he's doing all the number one songs of the 70s, but he'll feature what was number one in this date in 1974, give us the top 25. We're getting a remake of several shows merging into one called The Mix Fix on Fridays from 4 to 7, where DJ Oswilo and DJ Anna and Miss JP are coming together to do No, I guess like a Latino music slash talk type show. I guess we're gonna have discussions on various topics such as their favorite Mexican soap operas and things like that. So be sure to check out that. We got several country shows. We got Laura's Country Music and More on Mondays. We've got Cowgirl Country Classics on Wednesdays. And we got Country Through the Years on Thursdays. And that one is probably the most, out of the three, the most comprehensive shows. You'll hear country from the 20s to today. We got Nick's Musical Memories. It's a show that I actually help produce on Thursdays from 8 to 11, where my Nick Baker will take us through albums and stuff from his childhood, or themes that he wants to explore musically, and you'll hear anything from yesterday and today, and a lot of interesting banter between the two of us. We've got Old Time Radio Theater every day with DJ Weekland from 9 to 11. And let's see, what else do we have? We have the Retro Lock-In. We have the Jukebox with Terry. We have DJ 12 Gauge's Throwdown. And we've got the Jared Reimer Show, where he play, and the Saturday Spotlight, where he'll play music from independent artists and labels in addition to his automation. He does do a live show. So that's a brief summary of just some of the programming we have for you on the mix. And you can just go to 986themix.com/schedule, and that'll take you right to the schedule page, and you'll see everything there. And by the way, I do want to point out that our site does work perfectly well. Both it does also work well on the Mac and iPhone too with Safari. So, in fact, I really like sometimes how the tables especially work really nice in Safari, because you can just go into a table, do VO down, and read everything. It's all neatly laid out. So I just want to make sure that we're not exclusively Windows or anything like that. So, VO users, definitely feel free to check us out as well. So, yeah, that's just an idea of what we have for you.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. I think if, I don't know. I think at some point, if you guys get into more of a, I don't even know what to call it, more of like a podcast server where you just collect podcasts from all over the world and sort of collect them all together, stuff like that, play them all out. I think that may or may not be good. Who knows? But that would be cool. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I like ideas, and I cannot say whether we will or won't go for it, but I definitely love ideas. The only dumb idea is the one not expressed. So
that's
maybe we'll get a server on there called Aaron's server, and the memory. Memory? What? You're deceased? Wait a minute. In dedication to. Well, let's see. We will if I was to do that. Okay, you would actually be the third Aaron we've had involved with our station. So
that's why you'd have to call me Aaron's Opinion, just to make sure no one's confused.
Yeah. Aaron's Opinion. Otherwise, everyone else confused. So. I didn't. I told him I can I can be sarcastic too. So. I hope I'm giving him a run for his money tonight.
You are. You're doing a magnificent job here. Well, okay. Now, how do you spend your time when you are not, working at the station and all of that?
So I am a college student. I recently decided to go back to university 4 years ago. I am majoring in history, and I especially like 19th and 20th century history and European and American, but other things too. I'm a history major, political science minor. I'm, also a Christian, do a lot of studying in the Bible, and I'm also house husband. My wife and I have been married for 9 years, so
congratulations.
Thank you. I do the cooking and online shopping. Let me tell you, folks, online shopping is a real blessing when you have a busy life. It takes so much less time, but we won't go into that. I also volunteer my time for an organization called iBug Today, which stands for the iBlind Users Group. They're based out of Houston, but They do all of their stuff online, and especially since March, you can check them out at ibugtoday.com. We host a series of Zoom calls where ranging from different topics. So, like every Monday night, we have the iBug Buzz Q&A where people can ask or answer questions related to iPhone, iPad, iOS. The fourth Tuesday of every month, we have Mac and Talk from 7 to 8, which my wife runs. We have the Android Insight Call. I'm going to say that's the the third Wednesday of every month. We have the Friday night at the movies, starting at 7:30, where they show an audio described movie every week, just the audio only. So that's one of their real popular things they have going for them. We have Trekkie Talk, so we're always looking for more Star Trek fans. We're watching The Next Generation. And so we watch the episodes outside of the call and then come in to talk about them the first and third Thursdays of every month. I'm not involved I don't do much with their book club, which they have once a month, where they will read a book which you can find on Bard and come in and discuss it. And you can just go to okay. Getting a message there. Yes, so that is at ibugtoday.com, and I volunteer my time for that, and I also work as a one-on-one mentor helping people on an individual basis learn the iPhone.
That's great. Yeah, I completely support all of those activities. I think that's a really good way to spend your time. And as far as your university interest in history goes, what's your ultimate goal with that? What would you like to do after you finish university? What do you think?
So what I'd really love to do is I'd love to become a professor. My goal ultimately is I want to teach at the college level or just teach. I don't really want to do grade school, but I like to be either a teacher or maybe kind of like a tour guide or something. I want to make history relevant to people. In fact, I incorporated a lot of it into my shows. Actually, I recently did a series called Journey Through the Decades, and along the way I talk a lot about what was happening and how it influenced the music and things like that. So I've toyed with the ideas of okay, what fun things can I do to incorporate my radio personality and history at the same time to make it all relevant to people, but in a way maybe that they'd like to listen to it more. Because people tell me that history is boring, blah blah blah. Well, you know what? History is real, people. It's we're history right now, especially with this year alone. So I was telling somebody the other day, do you want people 50 years from now to look back on our lives and say, "Ah, that was boring"? Because it's what's shaped our present, and so I want to make it, do my part to try to make history relevant to people. So
I That's so good. Yeah, I would recommend getting into podcasting. Just you hopping over to Anchor or any of the podcast hosting sites and just podcast about it. That would be a great way for you to educate people and really get an audience and really get people engaged. Sure, definitely.
Yep, I think you have to, it takes a lot of schooling and a lot of good papers to really become expertise, and I'm finally getting to that point where I have really actually started considering that particular avenue.
Well, that's really good. That would be really, really nice if you had a history podcast where you just talked about history. I'll tell you off the air. There's someone. Oh, I have someone that you should talk to. You probably know who it is. I'll tell you off the air. But there's someone you should talk to about history. The person knows an enormous amount. In fact, the person might be coming back to this show. The person has been on the show before, so I actually need to contact that person again and get them back here. But that is all very good, cool. Have you traveled overseas?
I have. I'm actually half British, half American, and my dad was also in the Air Force. So I actually spent the first 4 years of my life in England, and I've done a few subsequent trips since then. Like we've gone back to visit my grandparents, though the last time I was there was in 1996. Otherwise, I've been to Canada once for about a day in the Vancouver, BC area, but most of my traveling has really been more so around the country. I've lived, in places Florida, Washington State, Minnesota. Currently living in Houston, Texas. My dad's side of the family comes from Ohio, so I've been there. I've been to St. Louis, did an East Coast tour with my choir, so did the whole circuit from New York to Baltimore to Washington, Philadelphia. Got a little bit of a stopover too in that process. And let's see, I've lived in Phoenix. I've gotten to visit California several times, mainly the LA area with Disneyland. And yeah, a lot of my traveling has been more around the country. So,
Excellent, excellent. So good, so good. And you said you really love cooking. What do you like to cook?
there's a lot of things I like to cook. The steak is one of my favorites, but I also do really good burritos. I do, like a lot of there's a roast chicken that I do. I do pizzas. I will also do tacos, meatloaf, grilled cheese sandwiches. I'm not much of a baker. I mean, I know how to do it, and I will do it occasionally. One of my more elaborate projects, now that because I actually had some time for it, was I actually did a Christmas dinner yesterday. And so we had a smoked turkey that I found at Walmart, along with garlic mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and bread rolls. And then a cinnamon ripple cake for dessert. One of my few times I will bake. So, I do a lot of that. I've done, salads, like I said. I've done chicken salads. Um, I do, stovetop cooking as well. So I will do like scrambled or fried eggs. I do French toast, fried chicken. So there's, quite a few things in my repertoire. The only thing I've not really ever done, but being in an apartment is kind of hard too anyway, is barbecuing.
Right. Well, good, good. What about gnocchi? Do you make gnocchi?
No, I don't make that, but I could learn.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, it's the type of, like, I've had it from Olive Garden. They're chicken gnocchi soup, and that's really good. So
Yeah, it's like the little dumplings. Yeah,
dumplings, yep,
the little pasta dumplings. I just
yep.
adore that. Just absolutely adore it. Yeah,
If you gave
definitely.
me, if I had to, I'd have to find the recipe. So yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, I must say I'm extremely impressed with your station. Of course, off the air, I will continue to connect you to my podcast world, my podcast community, help you, reach my audience more and connect with all of my guests and all of that. But we come to a very um, exciting part of the show.
Oh, this
But
is where it
but
ends.
we're getting we're getting there, but let me ask you, if someone wants what I'm so nasty, you want to hang up?
No, yeah, no, no. You're doing good, but I'm giving you a run for your money in the sarcasm department, and I'm milking it for all it's worth. So.
That you are, that you are. Um, so if someone's on your page and they want to help your station, how would they go about doing that? Do you guys do fundraising? Can people donate? How does that work?
So we've never asked anybody for any money.
Good.
Just because of
Well,
this,
okay, good.
for the simple fact that most of our audience are people who are on very limited incomes, and in the past I've had some bad luck with that. If somebody really did, I mean, and we managed to keep our costs very minimal. If somebody really did want to help out the station, You would do so through PayPal. You can write me at management at 986mix.com where I would give you the address and then just make sure you would indicate in the comments, it's for helping out 986 The Mix. And we would, divert the money for that. Or if you can also use herbie.allen at 986mix.com. That is the PayPal address, but the contact page does have a way that you can contact us for general stuff, and so then you can just ask for more details on if you wanted to contribute. But we do not overtly ask anybody for
Right.
money.
You don't have a donate button per se.
We,
'Cause a
we
lot
do
of
not have a
Christians.
donate button. The Jared Reimer Network, which we are a part of, he does have a donate button for his thing, which is at jaredreimer.net, but that would go towards the network as a whole, not necessarily the station individually. So, but I've managed to keep our costs really low over the years. So, we pay reasonable amount for our Shoutcast server, our the website hosting in general, our Team Talk server, and the only time we've ever really asked for people for money is if occasionally we've been asked about more ambitious projects, and I've said if you want to donate to those specifically, because that would go beyond our current operating budget, then that's something like we've had talk about a simple voice center suite in the past, and Zoom for the station, and those can get a little bit on the pricey side. And so, if people wanted that type of thing and you wanted to donate specifically for that, of course, that's one thing. But if you do want to help out the station in general, you can write to us privately and we'll talk you through all that.
Excellent. Cool. Cool. That is important to know. Because sometimes I have found people who are willing to be helpful like that. And it's
Yeah.
always good to have a helping hand in
Oh,
any
yeah.
time. But and at this point, always good to know all that. So now I really love this part of my show. I always ask every guest. So Herbie, if you could really make me sweat and ask me only one question about anything about me that you really want to know.
I will give you a choice. All right. He asked for it, folks. Just remember. So I'll give you two questions. You can answer either one. What is your age, or what is your yearly income?
My age is 29.
Okay, that's why I'm able to out sarcasm you. I'm like older, so I'm wiser. No, I don't know if I'm wiser or not, but all right. I gave him he chose the easy one, which is totally fine with me. But hey, I think I'm going to my show this Thursday because I'm doing a New Year's Eve special. I think we're going to have to play, going to make you dance. Everybody's sweating now. I'm dedicated to you. Said, all right, I got to make somebody sweat last Saturday. Aaron's Opinion, and you can check him out, by the way, on YouTube. But right now, here's CNC Music Factory, and I'm getting into my DJ mode, and oh boy, I can really have a lot of fun there. But
Okay. You guys know where to find it. Find this guy if you guys want to tune into what he does.
yep, 986themix.com. It's very simple, and you can also find this, like I said, on Alexa. You can, find this a number of ways by searching for KKMX. And on uTunes, you can either do KKMX or KKMK, because I guess another station got in ahead of us with the thing KKMX or something like that.
Well,
So,
on your website, your call sign is KKMX on the website. By the
yep,
way.
yep, it is.
Right.
Yep.
I see. Well, guys, do you have any final words of wisdom for the audience tonight, Herbie?
Well, folks, I just want to say that we're doing our best at the station to keep everybody cheerful, regardless of COVID
Good,
and all that.
good.
But, these are tough times for people. And, I just want you all to know that, I understand that, some of us may be having easier times than others, but not everybody, and some people aren't. And, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in this nation because these are trying times right now. But keep smiling, and I hope that you do check out the station and that maybe we can, help lighten up your day somewhat. So,
Hmm. Well, I agree. My heart goes out to everybody, praying for everyone's health. Herbie, I wish you very good health. I wish your family very good health. Everybody else here at Aaron's Opinion, the best of health to everybody from around the world. Most of you who are listening to this on the podcast or even on YouTube, most of you are not in the United States. So from all over the world, I wish you very good health. Do you know how I end an episode of Aaron's Opinion?
Yeah, I do not. Go ahead and enlighten me.
You do not know. Okay, well,
I do not know. I need to. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Now we're there. Herbie, thanks so much. Don't hang up, as we say on this podcast. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow.